Yeah, the world of sushi, it's in turmoil for many reasons, but it's a shame. But if you go to a sushi restaurant, guys, and you're wondering why the conveyor belts are empty when they once weren't, that is why, unfortunately.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad in Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. I'm your host, Chris Broad, and we're joined, as always, by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Darson himself. Pete, how the devil are you doing? What's going on?
I'm good. I've just shared a half of a melon with a dog. It is winter time here in the south of London. South of England.
The south of London.
And so we're kind of all in our. We're exercising our big coat protocol, as a friend calls it, and we're all sort of considering whether to put the heating on. We're considering whether to put our big coats on, and everything just feels a little bit autumny, a little bit Christmassy, Chris. A little Christmas fun.
Oh. They've already whipped out the Christmas decorations here in Japan. They've been like, it's been like Halloween for like 2. They have to sort of preemptively get a preemptive strike on the seasons here in Japan, and even though Christmas is still like 2.5 months away, they just want to get in. They just want to do it. They love it. It's really weird.
Do they have, obviously, the Americanization of Japan and Tokyo and stuff? Is there any sort of love for Thanksgiving? Is there a Thanksgiving vibe? Because obviously they do Christmas just for a laugh. Surely they could get involved with the Thanksgiving nonsense.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But no, there really isn't anything to do with Thanksgiving here. That's the one that has steered clear of Japan.
Eluded
them. Halloween, Halloween and Christmas are big deals here. Especially Halloween, actually. Yeah. Though, of course, as we reported last week, don't go to Shibuya on Halloween because you can't eat, drink, or smile on the night of Halloween now because of various naughty things that happen there.
Naughty boys and girls.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. I'm in the Christmas spirit though already.
Okay,
now there's like trees and things around. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling Christmassy.
Now there's trees and things around. Right, what are the trees doing? This sort of weird.
Like Christmas trees, sorry. Decorations.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I thought you spend all summer ignoring trees. Your tree seasons are very much February for Hanami, and then you spend the most of summer ignoring trees, and then winter's on the menu. It's tree time, baby. It's tree time.
Just in time for the trees to die. Yes,
exactly. Oy.
Normally at the start of the podcast we talk about what we've been up to. I actually don't know what I've been up to. What the hell have I done this week, Pete? Where have I been?
What the hell have you done this
Natsuki.
week? Jeez,
Natsuki was here.
Natsuki was doing some kind of... Was he doing live and Unleashed? He was doing like a live and Unleashed kind of appearance or something. Was that in Tokyo, or was that in Sendai, or was that somewhere else?
Well, it's happening tonight in about an hour, and I'm going to be late because we're late to recording the podcast, so I'm going to be late now. But Natsuki, he conjured up an event out of nothing, and nobody really knows what's going to happen at the event. Ian, who is like the producer for Journey Across Japan, a good friend, he has events every month, and Natsuki turned to him and was like, I want to do an event. And Ian was like, okay, mate, what do you want to do? And Natsuki's like, I don't know, but event. And so Ian's put on this event. In 1 hour's time, 60 people will descend upon Tokyo for Natsuki's event. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And I have it on good authority that Dr. Jelly himself is going to be making an appearance in his costume, in his lab coat, whatever the bloody hell he wears. Yeah, Joey's coming. So
that's outrageous. Although Dr. Jelly is his own thing, Joey the anime man, obviously. Is the character of Dr. Jelly not part of the Abroad in Japan Marvel universe? Will you have to, in many ways, just like when Hulk Hogan used to appear, every year the WWF had to pay Marvel for the use of the word Hulk. Will their palms have to be greased to allow Dr. Jelly to appear?
I think Dr. Jelly's palms are already greasy enough, to be honest.
No, your palms for Dr. Jelly's appearance.
Oh yeah,
for crying out loud.
Grease my palms.
That's why when wrestlers go over to AEW, they have different names because they have to. Edge becomes Adam Copeland, etc., etc.
Well, I fear we are not as sophisticated as the world of wrestling. This event's a ragtag nightmare. I've got to turn up in an hour's time and hope the venue hasn't exploded or Natsuki's not throwing it all down. But it should be good. And I showed Natsuki.
It doesn't sound like he's got much of a plan. It just sounds like he's just went event. We're doing an event.
Yeah,
and he's not got anything sort of planned.
I think what's scary about Natsuki is he doesn't realise that things take planning and skill sometimes. Like because with Abroad in Japan, we get it in place that he can just literally turn up and magic happens. all the teams are there, all the planning's there, and he just turns up. What's happened this time? Natsuki's turned up, and nobody else has. And so let's see what happens.
Let's see how that one goes. Yeah.
Yeah, my God. But I did show him around the studio, and he was very impressed to see his hair salon, because you've got Natsuki's hair salon around the back, right? You can't see it, sort of tucked around there somewhere. And I filmed Natsuki's reaction to the new 1970s room, and he rustled through some drawers. It's interesting because he discovered things that I hadn't discovered. There's a drawer, like a big old-fashioned bit of furniture in the room, and in the bottom of it there was like a big wooden elephant for no reason. And don't know what the story is there. Free elephant. And there was a bunch of old-fashioned matches, which Natsuki then started to use to light a cigarette right there in the brand new studio, to which point
the very flammable studio that's covered in paper and glue and all the flammable things in the world. And he decides to just spark up a tab.
I know, it's classic Natsuki. But yeah, it was fun. It was good seeing him. And
good.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But we got a story this week from Hugh, who begins. Hello, Chris and Pete, long-time listener here. I took the plunge to visit Japan in October 2022, just as it was opening up for tourists again. After booking a Shinkansen seat with extra luggage on the JR website and working out Japan still has a fetish for paper, that it does, they love paper, I finally managed to use my JR pass to withdraw another ticket to board the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Kyoto. As I boarded, I wedged my small suitcase with wheels under my large backpack at the back of the train and took my seat. I took out the bento box I'd purchased earlier and had a sip of my first ever Pocari Sweat, then put my earphones in to the soundtrack of The Last Samurai. Is this a real thing you did? This sounds like a fever dream of like what someone would imagine their first trip to Japan's going to be. A few minutes later, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Oh no, the Last Samurai soundtrack rudely interrupted. A ticket operator, I thought. This will be like the usual trains on my commute to Wales. What the fuck? I'll show my ticket and he'll be on his way. Easy. I showed my ticket, but was instead met by a furious barrage of what I can only assume wasn't very friendly words. I showed my ticket again, thinking this ticket operator has woken up on the wrong side of the bed and is now taking it out on the gaijin foreigner, but this time he pointed behind me. I glanced around and saw the gazes of a few people waiting at the entrance to the carriage. He looked at me and said in English, "Dangerous!" It wasn't my ticket that was the problem. It turned out my small hand luggage on wheels had slipped free and turned into a full-blown death trap and was rapidly sliding from one side of the carriage to another like some sort of underfunded episode of Total Wipeout. Quickly, I got up and attempted what was a cross between trying to stop a football and a cartoon sketch of someone slipping on a banana to stop it. After doing so, a few feeble sumimasen was spoken, and I sat back down, red-faced at my seat, feeling the intense stare of 3 or 4 people that had been held up trying to get to their seats. All the best, Hugh, the train terrorist. Terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, the last time I was in Japan, I actually experienced somebody doing that, and it was a Japanese person who'd left their luggage to just roll around willy-nilly, which is quite exciting. but it is quite it can be quite damaging, I think, because obviously you've got your entire life in one bag. Most people who come to Japan, so there's some and you know, gifts and omiyage and all that stuff as you're traveling around. It can be quite a dangerous sort of wrecking ball kind of situation.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with these. I think it's happened to me once before with a really big suitcase. It's a miracle nobody died that day. But you got to be wary of these things. Like, I feel like we take a lot of things for granted on trains, and I felt really bad. I had loads of luggage behind me on my seat once. Like when you book a bullet train somewhere long distance, like Kyoto, you have to get like a special seat for oversized luggage, and then you can put the luggage behind you. And I remember packing it all in, sitting in my seat, and then this poor woman, must have been in her mid-30s, turned up with a pram with like 2 children in it, and clearly she was hoping to put her bag there, because it turned out she was sitting next to me, and there was a bit of an awkward moment where I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I think my luggage is more important than your children. Your pram.
I think my collection of antique bowling balls is more valuable as they scatter around the Shinkansen vestibule.
But like, yeah, I felt really bad, and I helped her pack a pram and get the kids. It was a bit awkward, but yeah, bear that in mind. But what is going on in Japan this week, Mr. Dawson? What is the news? Fill us in. What's going down in Japan?
Well, this was a story that we spoke about a little while ago. Obviously, there was a guy who is now kind of known as the sushi terrorist. If you say sushi terrorist in Japan, everyone knows exactly who it is. There was a person in a sushi restaurant in Nagoya City in Aichi. A man was filmed, recorded, drinking straight from the soy sauce bottle, which, you know what I mean? The best case scenario there, you're going to end up with soy sauce in your mouth, which is disgusting. Like a big mouthful of soy sauce.
That was the punishment.
And he was sort of stealing. He was sort of stealing sushi from plates and stuff. He was doing all kinds of absolutely crazy stuff. But there were two sort of separate incidents. There was that guy, and then there was the other guy who sort of messed around with the food and stuff. Anyway, the Kurazushi perpetrator of what was dubbed sushi terrorism by the media was found guilty this week by Nagoya District Court Judge Yoichi Omura. It was a pretty open and shut case because, he was filmed doing it. The man in the video, 21-year-old Ryuga Yoshino, was handed down a 5-year suspended sentence on a 3-year prison sentence. He will not appeal. He spoke to the media after the verdict. He appeared remorseful, telling reporters, "I'm truly sorry. The first thing I will do is reflect and make up for what I did. I think it's more important to want to make amends, even just a little, with the people who I caused trouble than it is to worry about myself." Is this a little much? Is this a little much? I'm just trying to get a read for someone who messes around with sushi before I tell you precisely why it's not a little much. Because it should be, you might feel sorry for this chap, but it should be noted that at the same trial, he was also found guilty of pimping out his 15-year-old girlfriend from December to March of this year. So you at one point you're sort of going, right, does a responsible society imprison a man who has just, licked a soy sauce bottle and eaten some sushi? I mean, he's clearly got other things going on. So it's, this part of it seems to be more incredible, bearing in mind his age, his girlfriend's age, etc., etc. And the thing about this news story is nobody's really talking about the pimping out of the 15-year-old girlfriend. They're all talking about him licking a soy sauce bottle because that's the one that shocked society.
Yeah, it seems Omura has his fingers in many pies. The pies of crime, one might say.
Right, thank you, kids.
But this is messed up. What a weirdo! Bloody hell! Lock him away.
But it's a story that we've heard time and time again, like over the past few months. I think we've heard more about this sushi terrorist than we've heard about the murder of the president, the murder of the prime minister. Yes. We heard more about that than that. It's crazy.
I mean, there's been all sorts of sushi cases over the last year, right? Between licking somebody, I think, was it last year? Somebody licked some sushi took off the conveyor belt, licked it, and then put it back on, and that caused a stir. And I remember earlier this year in January, I released a video called "I Tried Every Sushi in Japan with Ryotaro," and it was sponsored by a big sushi company whose name I don't remember. Fuck, what are they called? Pete? Quick, reel off your favourite sushi company names.
Not Yoshinoya. Kura Sushi.
No, it's not that one.
Well, they're the ones that got upset about the man licking the soy sauce bottle. They were a couple of years ago releasing sort of lucky boxes with free cake inside. They would send you free cake, even though they're a sushi company. It's very confusing.
It wasn't that. No, it was Sushiro, the biggest sushi company.
Sushiro. Okay, they got there in the end. Lovely stuff.
And there was a lot of people thought it was a PR response to the situation because we'd filmed the video in December. Then I think at the end of December, everybody licked all the sushi, like you do, and all the crimes unfolded. Yeah. And then in January, our video came out.
Nothing to do in winter, is there?
No, nobody's got anything better to do. And people thought, somebody said, Sushiro's responded quickly, as if me and Ryotaro were some sort of crisis team brought in to rejuvenate the image of the sullied sushi brand. But no, it was just unfortunate or lucky timing, depending on however you look at it. But it's unfortunate. And what you've noticed now is places like Sushiro and a lot of other sushi conveyor belt sushi restaurants have stopped doing the conveyor belts altogether.
Right.
It's not the ones where you order it and it comes straight to you, but the ones where they put the sushi out and it sort of goes around all day.
Constant
and to be
rotation,
fair, yeah, constant rotation. And to be fair, I don't really like eating them anyway because the sushi's been left out sometimes for like an hour.
They're quite sort of like tourist trappy, I find. Is that fair to say? Like a lot of those places seem quite, you know, they're never staffed by Japanese people. They're always just kind of like in tourist. They're always in like them Dotonbori right on the river sort of thing. Those rotationals.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. Yeah, so I don't really mind the fact they've had to take sushi off the conveyor belts for those sort of ones and let it go around all day. But yeah, and there was all sorts of tech. Sushiro, or another sushi company, I think that was Kura Sushi, they implemented like laser cameras to see where the sushi had been removed and all this stuff. It was like the future, right? It was all very like Orwellian sushi. Right.
You should just get like a little kind of lock. They should come round in like lock boxes, and you have the combination, and you've got a kind of or the key. You have a key, so it takes quite a while to unlock it all.
And a bomb just to spice things up. You've got to unlock it. You have 30 seconds.
I imagine if you've got like one of these restaurants, presumably having a conveyor belt is a pretty massive undertaking. Fitting that to your business in the middle of it, so like. You've got to find some reason for the conveyor belt to exist. So just put little trinkets, maybe a toy train sort of going round. That would cheer everyone up, wouldn't it? Condiments.
A toy train.
You could just have one bottle of vinegar, soy sauce, and it just rotates round, and you grab it and you put it back. So just have it for the condiments.
I am glad Pete Dawson doesn't have a sushi restaurant or a conveyor belt restaurant.
True.
I dread to think what you'd put on the bloody conveyor belt. You'd be sitting there minding your business and a bloody katana sword would come swooping past.
Yogurts. I mean, just loads of
yogurts. And then there was the case of a YouTuber who put like a GoPro on a conveyor belt and it went round.
That upset everyone, yeah.
And upset everyone. It's a shame because it looks kind of cool because the camera goes past everyone and it's like a perspective that you never get to see, right? That's a really cool perspective. But the sushi restaurant wasn't so happy about that because of various
it's not clean
health and safety. And also the camera went straight into the kitchen and like filmed the chef and it was all a bit like, oh my God.
Doesn't like that,
wow. No. The world of sushi, it's in turmoil for many reasons, but it's a shame. But if you go to a sushi restaurant, guys, and you're wondering why the conveyor belts are empty when they once weren't, that is why, unfortunately. Sushi terrorism.
Licking has happened.
And it's big money as well. Like it lost, I think it wiped a lot of money off of some of the big sushi brands. They lost like $50 million in market capitalization because of the guy licking a soy. Well, look, one licked soy sauce bottle.
One licked soy sauce bottle. Who says that this man wasn't in the employ of a rival sushi brand? That's what I'm saying.
That's true. Well, that would be sushi espionage.
Cricket, is it? Sushi espionage, lovely.
Sushi espionage, sushi terrorism, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Go and enjoy sushi. Go and enjoy it. But don't lick the bottle and don't lick things and put them back on the belt. Yeah.
Things you can lick in a sushi restaurant. The food you've bought. That's it. The food you've ordered, lick away. Lick every last grain of rice off that sushi if you want, mate. But just don't lick anything else that anyone else is going to touch, all right?
Hell yeah. But also, the best sushi restaurant in Japan, in my book, is Sushi Zanmai, and it's not a conveyor belt. It's just very good. They just bring it out to you like normal humans do. And that's good. The worst sushi restaurant, I think, is Genki Sushi. I don't know if it still exists. I think it does. It's in Shibuya, and there's always a very big queue for it. It's very cheap. It's not very good, but people love it. And I don't. It's a real shame because if that's your first experience of sushi, that's sad.
I'm always surprised about is it Uobi Sushi in Shibuya near the Love Hotel district, near that bar that has like a fighting octagon in it, an MMA octagon in there. The one that you order with an iPad, and it's they have quite a lot of nice seasonal dishes to be fair, but it comes out as a little train and then F's off again, and then comes back with some more food, and then F's off again.
Did you go there?
But that's not. Yeah. I've always gone there. It's really nice. It's like it's very, very popular. So you got to really pick your times. Like choose the start of the week and choose around about like 5 p.m. rather than 7, because it just gets way too busy. You're just in that position where you just sat in reception waiting for a table. There's a lot of churns, a lot of turnover, but it's a bit of a pain in the bum to wait.
Yeah, that's a really good bit of advice, actually. Like, if you want to go to any restaurant in Japan, don't go at 7 p.m. Get there any time before that, and you'll be fine. 7 p.m., I swear to God, like, if you go to a restaurant in Japan, 5 p.m., empty. If you go at 6 p.m., it's like 20%. 6:30 p.m., 50%. 6:45, 70%. 7 p.m., 100%. You're stuffed. I don't know. It's 7 p.m. Make sure you get there before then. Otherwise, you're not going to be eating at the restaurant.
If you're out for like a night out and stuff, I've always recommended, bearing in mind like jet lag being what it is, you're always going to be a little bit tired. So go and have some food at about 4:30, 5, and then get your head down for an hour and a half, and then you're fresh for absolutely soaking up all that alcohol and to go out properly. That's always how I've done it, and it served me very well in the previous years.
Pete's drinking tips. There you go. And don't forget to have the Ukon no Chikara. Ukon no Chikara, the thing that stops you having a hangover.
The little bottle with a picture of a liver on it.
I still maintain it doesn't work, but it tastes all right.
No.
And it's worth a punt, isn't it? Worth a shot.
Yeah.
We're back in just a moment, guys, with your stories, comments, and questions in the Fax Machine.
Wow.
And we're back with the Fax Machine. What have we got this week from our listeners? Mr. Donaldson, take it away.
Hello there, Cordial Chris and Pleasant Pete, or Spontaneous Guest. I've started listening to your guys' podcast around February of this year, and I've been binge listening since the very first episode. I'm happy to report that after many months of listening, I'm almost there to the latest episode of Abroad Japan podcast. Yes, that's right, I am almost there, and you can't stop me. I am coming. I am inevitable. This email is even more frightening. Well, his name's Socrates from the Bronx, which is amazing.
Wow.
I want to send this email to congratulate you guys into finally converting into video format after so many years, and also wanted to ask a question. You've mentioned before that if you were to upload video podcasts into YouTube, that you would feel like you wouldn't be able to express yourself as you would in audio format. Do you believe that this still holds true? Thank you a lot for your hard work for our entertainment. Hope to hear you read this email out in the future. Sincerely, your boy, Socrates from the Bronx. The coolest email we've had recently.
Socrates from the Bronx. I hope that's a real person's name, because that is amazing. I mean, I don't know, going forward into doing YouTube videos, it's been kind of good, I think. It's nice. I think most of our listenership on the podcast is still there listening, but we've also got a new audience on YouTube, so we kind of have our cake and eat it, which reminds me, I need to eat some cake.
It's
good, it's good. And I do enjoy it. I feel like pretty pumped and ready to go doing YouTube with the camera on me. I feel the pressure's there in a way that I didn't have before. So yeah, no, it's cool. I'm enjoying it.
Chris would sometimes do his show when he's just lying down on a bed after a big family chicky orgy. He would just sit there and it was disgusting to see. It really was. I would say that my battle with uploading one of the shows last week, because I said the word nipple 5 times. I was trying to figure out why the YouTube algorithm kept demonetizing us.
You've done it again.
Well, I've said it once. I think you're allowed to say nipple once. I mean, you should be able to say male nipple as many times as you want. But I had to remove 2 words just simply because it kept demonetizing us. So for me, it's a fascinating, look at what the YouTube algorithm is, why it hates certain things, and why it's so very strange. But we'll get there, Chris. True. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's the only downside, having to rein in our vocabulary a little bit. But maybe it's for the best. Maybe we can open up a more family-friendly audience, Pete.
Piss off.
I was really scared. When I did a book signing back in Nottingham, somebody brought over their 2 kids who were like 10 and 11. And they were like, I always listen and watch Abroad in Japan. And I'm like, oh my God.
Sounds like an old lady. Sounds like, are you sure it wasn't Benjamin Button?
It didn't sound like that, but I was like,
wasting disease.
Well, I think all the horrible things I say, and it's like, Jesus, that's terrifying. I remember I got an angry email in my 2nd or 3rd year doing YouTube. It was like, I really like your videos, but I watch my videos with my son David, and now we can't because you said the F word. You dropped the F bomb. Please don't. And I was like, don't watch it with David. David's not my demographic.
Yeah, David sounds like he's having a terrible time.
But now, maybe in an act of desperation, I can appeal to a younger audience and widen the net, so to speak. Is that good?
Well, David could be a bit. David's probably quite old enough now. He's probably using F words of his own.
He probably is, yeah. To be fair, he's probably in his 20s now. Which takes us through to our second question. It's from Hassan. He says, hello, Crikey Chris and Poignant Pete. I'm from Benghazi, Libya. As a long-time listener, dedicated viewer, I never skip a beat in uploads. And your videos are among the first in my YouTube binge at the end of the day. Well, thank you very much, Hassan. Shame there's only like one video every 3 months. But I've got a big project coming up, and there'll soon be lots of videos. More on that in a future episode. But enough about me, and on to my friend, who took the Japanese language learning route and made significant progress in a short amount of time, even passing JLPT N5 level. He was even able to hold conversations with native speakers he found online. However, all of this came crashing down when he realised, oh dear, that he doesn't even want to live in Japan due to its infamous work culture. My question is, what are some things he can do or take advantage of the Japanese language so it wasn't all for nothing? Best of wishes, kindly, Hassan. Oh, that's a shit. Well, can't he come here on holiday at least for like a month? Then, or like just come here for a holiday every year for like 2 weeks, like Pete Donaldson does. Pete mastered Japanese, and he comes here now and uses what he's learned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you go, and I've always wanted to go to Libya, so I'll stay in your house, Hassan, or your friend's house, and you can go to Japan, and I'll look after your house. So cool, yeah, deal, super.
Ultimate house swap.
Yeah, I will. If you live on the Greek or Libyan peninsula, I will come and lend your house for a bit, guaranteed. Beautiful part of the world.
God. I don't know though. I mean, how would Japanese be useful if you weren't going to live in Japan? I think to impress your friends and be like, "Oh, look, this is the kanji for cat." And be like, "Whoa, like that would be cool." Watch a Japanese film.
Yeah, manga, all that good stuff. I mean, a lot of video games get released in Japan first, and then they get localized in the West. So you could be playing the Yakuza games like at least 4 months earlier.
Exactly, and the sad truth is though, N5, it's like nothing. You really, to be honest, you're probably N5 level, Pete. So it's not as good as your friends made it out to be honest, Hassan. I think he can't do as much as you'd think. But we got one last question from Hannah from Seattle, who says, hello, Chris and Pete. I'm going to visit Japan in a couple of weeks, and I'm staying with some friends down in Kyushu. From having Japanese friends and learning what I can about the culture, I know that they take their nighttime baths very seriously with the family, all sharing the bathwater, one after another. My question is, will my husband and I be invited to do this as well while we're staying there? Or as someone who showers and does my hair in the morning, I'm feeling a little bit stressed about taking part in this ritual. How long are people staying in this bath? Is each person in there for an hour, or is it like a 15-minute soak? If I don't want to bathe at night, will I offend them? Love the podcast. You keep me sane. Hannah from Seattle. What do you think, Pete? What would you do?
Just get in there, splash around for a little bit, pretend you're having a bath, and go, oh, lovely. Surely they will suspend the usual bathwater sharing festivities for guests, surely. I mean, this all sounds a bit tin bath in the front room for me, being from the northeast myself.
I must admit, it's the one part of the culture I'm a little bit like sharing the same water like that. It's a bit...
It's a bit old school. I feel like it's the sort of thing that people get very excited about, but it doesn't actually ever happen anymore.
No, and I think in that case, I highly doubt they would expect you to share the family bathwater. I think if it's your brother, your sister, mother, dad, all in the same place, I think that's fine, but I think for guests, they would change the bathwater. I would hope so, anyway. But what you do in a Japanese bath, of course, is you shower and scrub. You sit down, you shower, you scrub. So the idea is you're very clean by the time you get in the bath, and then the bathwater stays clean. So it's not as dirty, maybe, as you think. But, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Just do what you want. They won't get offended. No one will care. If they get offended, that's just odd. Yeah.
Splash water in their eyes. Squirt mateys bubble bath in their eyes.
splash some bubble bath in their eyes, run out the door to freedom, back to Seattle. Keep the stories, questions coming in to abroadinjapanpodcast@gmail.com. We're taking your questions in the YouTube comments section as well, but nobody's been doing it. We have like a guy. His name's Dave. Everyone's called Dave. Oh. Dave goes through the YouTube comments looking for questions. He said he didn't find any in the last episode, but there's lots of comments. But just write question, fax machine, #fax machine question, and we'll pick one out. Right, Pete?
Hashtag fax machine. Just hashtag fax machine.
We can't say it. Hashtag fax machine.
Hashtag fax machine. Oh, God. Hashtag fax machine, and we'll read out your question. All right? Hashtag fax machine. That's all we need. All right? No more, no less. I'm helping you out here, Chris. I'm helping Dave out here.
And that is a tongue twister Pete Dawson promise right there. But for now, guys, have yourself a great few days. We'll see you right back here. Do all over again on the Abroad Japan podcast. Bye for now. Have a good one.